Hey, what's up YouTube? Lightsaber Samurai here. I'm back again with another video, and the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X dropped this week, and we are officially in the 9th generation of console video games. And I know a lot of you ran out and bought those consoles. Some of you played yourself and bought them at scalper prices, and you went out and grabbed a few of those games, the 5 or 10 launch games that came out or so. You're playing them over and over again, and the rest of us are kind of left out. But to my PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 4 Pro owners, need I remind you that there are thousands of titles in that Sony library, and many of which you have never heard of before. Maybe you've seen them and passed them up. So without further ado, you guys know what time it is. It is PlayStation 4 Hidden Gems Part 2. Let's talk about it. Okay, getting started with the first game on our list here, and this is a fighting game by SNK and Atlas, and that, of course, is the King of Fighters XIV. Now, this game came out a few years ago, and I had to snatch it up. First of all, because it had this really cool slipcover and steelbook case, but also because King of Fighters is a dope fighting series, and this one was published by Atlas, so I knew that it wasn't going to be on shelves for much longer. So I scooped this up at about 20 bucks a couple of years ago, and I was super happy with this game. It has a super large roster of characters. They kind of take on more of the art style that we saw in the more recent Street Fighter and Street Fighter Alpha games, but man, this, in my opinion, plays a lot better. It's not bare bones like Street Fighter V was. They give you everything right off the bat, and they even patched like the graphics. Like, people, I remember back in the day, people were like, oh, the graphics are cool, but I mean, you know, we feel like they could be better. And Atlas was like, okay, yeah, don't mind if we do. So they redid the graphics, and there's a patch that enhanced the graphics and made them look better, and just stuff like that. That attention to detail, like, that's super cool, and stuff you really don't see out of a lot of game developers nowadays. I mean, it's got all your standard game modes, your 3-on-3 team battles. Again, they changed the mechanics, and this is the game that introduced the climax cancel. So you can, I mean, it's really just to increase like your combos and things like that. And playing this game, that's kind of what I felt. There was kind of more of an emphasis on combos than I had seen in previous entries in the series. But that being said, again, 50 characters on this. They added a couple of characters, and basically everybody is in here that I can think of. I can't think of any glaring omissions. But yeah, this is a fantastic game. Last I checked, this game is hovering around the $25-$30 mark, and it's definitely worth that. So if you see King of Fighters 14, definitely pick it up. Okay, next game on the list. I know I'm about to catch some heat for this one, but hear me out. This game, I've been playing this game every day for the last several days, and I personally have been having a blast. This is a game I saw on the shelves all the time, and all the game reviews said this game was absolute trash and gave it low scores and yada yada yada, this, that, and the third, and that is Generation Zero. Now, this is more or less a survival horror game that came out by Avalanche Studios. I think it was 505 producers, it was THQ Nordic that produced this, and this game takes place in the late 1980s. 1989, I believe, is the year, and it takes place in 1989 in Sweden, and you are just coming back from a camping trip, and your boat gets attacked, and once you come to and end up on shore, you basically come to find that the Swedish countryside has been overrun by these killer robots of all various shapes and sizes. No idea where they came from. Everybody seems to be dead or missing, and you're just dropped in and thrown in the world, left to figure it out and survive on your own and unravel the mystery of the events that took place. Now, this has an emphasis on multiplayer. You can play with up to 5 characters, or excuse me, up to 4 players at once, and cooperative games. I love cooperative games, and I feel like they don't make enough of them anymore. So to be able to put together your team and and just survive together against the environment and against the killer robots. Like, fantastic. On its own, I've been playing this game, and a lot of moments of tenseness, just fighting that you start off very weak. I actually start off with no weapons, and you'll find more weapons as the game goes on, and you can really feel yourself get more powerful. And it was to the point where I would just run or hide from the robots, to where I felt confident enough to take out maybe one at a time and kind of run and do that. And now, like, still the gameplay is challenging, and I won't go guns blazing, but I can take out large enemies now, and I can take out large groups of enemies as long as I'm strategic and things like that. This game, to me, I don't know what everybody's complaining about. This game is fantastic. Maybe it's been patched. This game has been around for a couple of years, so maybe I just didn't experience the way it was when it came out. But beautiful graphics and a fantastic day and night cycle. The day and night cycle, they last about 2 hours a piece. And so I know a lot of games, like, kind of their day and night cycle kind of alternates like every 10 minutes or something like that, and that just doesn't really feel realistic to me. The 2 hours feels much more like I'm living a day, and I love the gradual change of it. You'll see the sun rise and set, the moon. Watching the moon throughout the game, the moon will change phases throughout just going through the lunar cycle, which was an incredible attention to detail right there. I did notice some screen tearing here and there in the graphics, but ultimately I found the graphics to be fairly detailed and nice and crisp. The enemies are fun to fight. You got a variety of different types of enemies with different strengths and weaknesses, and specific attacks to each, and depending on what weapons and tactics you use, battles can be difficult or they can be a breeze. They've got a cool leveling up system and a cool ability system that you unlock. One thing about this game, I do feel like it takes too long to increase in level. I do feel like there's a bit of grinding to be done in that, because I don't feel like you level up fast enough. But that being said, all in all, this game is fantastic. One thing that will turn people off is that there are no NPCs. I know that was an issue that a lot of people had with games like Fallout 76 when they launched, and that is kind of a downside to me as well, that no one survived this robot apocalypse. Even the US or even the Swedish military was wiped out, but here I am, this teenage kid, and all of a sudden I become Rambo and I'm just slaying all these robots. And so that is disappointing. The fact that there doesn't seem to be, at least in the 10 hours or so I've played of the game, I haven't run into anybody who's alive yet. So yeah, that is going to be a turnoff for a lot of people, but if you can get past that, or especially if you're playing multiplayer, you will find a fantastic game lying underneath. This game goes for less than $10 now, and so you can find it pretty much anywhere you can buy used games at this point. GameStop, you can still find it there, and your vintage stocks and things like that. So if you see it, again, $8 is what I paid for it at GameStop, so definitely pick it up. Okay, next game on the list, we are going to a classic horizontal shooter, and not just any horizontal shooter, but the original bullet hell horizontal shooter, as it says on the back of the package. This is Raiden 5, and this is the latest in the long-running series. I've been playing the Raiden game since the Raiden project, all the way back on the PlayStation 1. And this game is basically more of the same, but that's not a bad thing at all. Of course, the graphics are nice and crisp. The graphics look fantastic in this game. It's got a story mode. The alien invasion is back, and so you're out to, defend the planet once again. It's pretty much more of the same, but that is fantastic, and fantastic is the price. Shooters, especially the Raiden games, they tend to shoot up in price over time. This is a game you can get, again, for about $10 if you can find it out there in the wild. And with that, it's got a cool two-player co-op mode and things like that, so I am on the lookout for a flight stick of some sort, or an arcade stick for the PlayStation 4, so I can really get down on this game. The director's cut, I believe, added more levels and just more content than we saw with this game on the arcade. So this is the definitive edition of Raiden 5. Again, like I mentioned before, you can get this $10 last time I looked, maybe 20 tops at this point. So if you see it, definitely pick it up because this one is going to be high price in the future. Okay, penultimate title on this list, and this one here is from Badland Games. This was huge on the PlayStation Vita, and I wanted to grab it on the Vita and never got a chance, but luckily I found out that it came out on the PlayStation 4, and so I was able to pick up Velocity on the PlayStation 4. Now, this is an excellent game, old school kind of arcade style game. It actually blends top-down shooter, so you've got another vertical style shooter like Raiden that we just saw, so it blends part shooter, part side-scrolling action platformer, and the way it does it is very, very nice. The gameplay of the story, I honestly don't remember the story at all to this game, but if you guys are into games like Castlevania, it's kind of Metroidvania style in the way it plays, as far as like grabbing new abilities and things like that. In piloting your ships and on foot, it's got this really cool mechanic where you can phase through solid objects, and so certain solid objects, so you can phase through walls and things like that. And the levels will try to trip you up with that, especially in the top-down shooter stages. Like all of a sudden the path you're on will end and you'll have to quickly phase over to the other side or be crushed in the screen, and so a lot of cool mechanics like that. I love the art style of the graphics as well as a nice clean 2D cartoony looking art style, and this game looks fantastic on the PlayStation 4. Last I knew that this game was sitting around the $20 mark, and I haven't actually seen Velocity in the wild in a long time, so this one might be becoming super rare. So if you can find this on the PlayStation or on the PlayStation 4, on the PlayStation Vita, this one you might want to pick up soon because I think this is about to disappear. Okay, moving on to the final game on the list is just a game I picked up. I saw it at my CD Trade Post, which is a local shop here in town, and I had never seen this game before at all, so I went ahead and made the dive and bought. It's called Max Xeno, and this is a traditional JRPG made by Kondakawa Games. I'm pretty sure I butchered that, but it is published by NIS America, and they brought it over and localized it here in North America. The cool thing about this game that I didn't realize at first, so this takes place in a post-apocalyptic future. You are Tullius, I believe, is the name of the main character. His family, his mom, was slaughtered by, again, these killer robots. Basically, he's out for revenge. He's out for, I was gonna say out for blood, but they're robots, so I don't know about that. But in this game, it takes place, the main mode of transportation and combat is your tank, and you'll get a few tanks throughout the course of the game. You can upgrade your tank, of course. You can upgrade its armor, its weapons, and its parts, and you can battle with the robots in your tank and on foot. Interestingly enough, a couple of interesting things about this game. Number one is this game is actually part of the Metal Saga series. Metal Saga, I remember Metal Saga on the PlayStation 2. It was a game I always wanted to try, but never got around to picking up. So this is part of the same series, and I think it makes references to a lot of the same lore and things like that. Another interesting thing about this game is that it came out on the PlayStation Vita, and it was a Japanese exclusive, and I thought it was weird when I looked at the back of this package and saw that the game was only like 2 gigs, 2 gigs in size, which is crazy. But like I said, NIS localized this and brought this to America on the PlayStation 4, so because of that, I think that this game is going to be super rare in the future because I think it came over in limited numbers. So if you see Max Xeno, the game itself plays really well. I like the 2D art style of it. Again, it was originally a Vita game. This is basically just a straight up port, and I think the graphics carry over pretty well, despite the fact that they're kind of less than 1080p on the resolution. But I mean, I think still, I think the graphical style and the art style look really good on this game, and I've been having a blast with it. I've kind of gotten out of playing Japanese RPGs. I kind of like them more, you know, the action RPGs as opposed to the turn-based, but this is an old school turn-based RPG that's kind of got me back into it. So I think I'm going to dive into some more RPGs in the future. And if you see this one, I picked this up for 17 bucks, and I think it's going for about $20. But again, because this technically wasn't a North American game, they just ported it over at the last minute to the PlayStation 4, and it didn't get a PlayStation Vita port, at least in America. This one is going to be rare in the future, no doubt about it. So if you see it, it's definitely worth the 20 bucks or so you can get it for used now. But once this climbs back up to 60 and 100 plus, like, I don't know if it's going to be. So if you see it, definitely grab this. Okay guys, so I do believe that's all I got for you in this video, but let's talk about it in the comment section below. Questions, comments, concerns, threats. What are some other hidden gems that we can talk about on the PlayStation 4? Again, as I mentioned, thousands of titles. The PlayStation 4 is a fantastic console. It really reminds me of the PlayStation 2 and just how prolific it was with all the titles that came out for it and all of the unique experiences, all the different genres that are heavily represented. And so, yeah, what other titles can we talk about in the future? If you like this content, go ahead, hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. You will be glad you did. I do believe that's all I got for you. Lightsaber Samurai out. Peace.